What's going on, y'all? It's your main man, Rick the Dawn. Hey, so I finally caught up with the latest episode of Married at First Sight. And before we jump into it, this episode is brought to you by wordy.com and the Really Hood podcast, which can be found on or at reallyhood.com. All right, so I would like to start off with talking about Christopher and Nicole. And as you know, I tend to go in a very linear order. So if you would like to jump around and kind of follow different couples, you know what to do. Go check out the description area. Now, before I jump into Christopher and Nicole, I think it's only right that I discuss a little bit what you might have clicked on this video for, and that is, did the experts miss a very obvious connection? When you look at Shaquille and you look at Eris, you tend to see that they're two different people entirely. And I think that they offer each other's, I think they would probably fit better in reverse. If you look at Kirsten and what she seems to have been, asking for the entire time, she seems to want someone who takes the initiative, someone who takes, life by the horns, and initiates a conversation, initiates physical contact. You seem to get that from Kirsten. It seems to be something that she desires, and and then when you look at the other side of the spectrum, at Jasmine, she seems to want someone who's emotionally mature. And when you look at their mates, they both seem to be a little insufficient in those particular categories. Now let's just play along for just a moment. What happens if you were to switch both Eris and Shaquille and put them with the opposite wife? Let's just play along, and then we'll go on our normal sequential order. But I want to just take a moment to just look at the dynamics. Okay, so what happens if Eris and Kirsten are together? If on wedding day, Eris and Kirsten were the ones who were matched together, what actually happens? Does it work? First off, I'm thinking that Eris's cousin is a little more at ease, because I would argue, I'm not sure about this, I would argue that Eris might fancy, okay, excuse the expression, but I believe he might fancy Kirsten a little more. All right, but I'm not sure. Eris has been a little unpredictable, so I'm not exactly sure. But I would argue that Kirsten might be more of his type than maybe Jasmine is at this particular moment. And as such, I think Eris would come out of his shell a little more, initiate sexual contact a little more. And that seems to be his entire character, like his entire personality. That seems to be who Eris is as an individual. He claims to be, and we haven't seen this ourselves, but he claims to be someone who is very overtly sexual. And we haven't seen that, but his excuse is, hey, I'm not attracted to Jasmine. So I think, had things been switched around, Eris is not allowed to use that particular excuse, right? And when we look at what Kirsten seems to be desiring, she seems to be someone who is looking for a manly man, someone who kind of takes the initiative. And when you look at Shaquille, and I'm going to be very fair here, but I think Shaquille is a gentleman, and I think as such he's waiting for cues. And maybe that is not exactly Kirsten's love language. She's not waiting for someone to ask for permission and wait for things to be set up a certain way. Whereas Eris, if he is who he says he is, because I haven't seen anything that shows me that he is this hypersexual alpha male. I haven't seen anything that tells me that. But if I go off of go off of what he's telling me and what I'm seeing him say, then perhaps that might just be what the doctor ordered for Kirsten. So I'll pose this question to the person watching. Had you switched both Shaquille and Eris, would things be better between the two couples? All right. And then if we look further or dive deeper into this, what has Eris been talking about most of the time? Physical attraction. That's been his entire thing. And I don't know for sure, because I can't pinpoint his type. I mean, if a beauty queen, a literal pageant queen, isn't his type, I don't know. I don't know what his type is. Um, I can't even say for sure that Kirsten might find Eris more attractive. But what's funny, if we go back to some of those earlier episodes, what did we hear Kirsten saying quite often that she didn't want a guy with a bald head. So did the experts miss the opportunity to swap this thing? And if you look at Eris's personality, he seems to be more of a extrovert, not in the current relationship that he's in. I feel like the current relationship that he's in, Jasmine just is just she wants the very basic essentials from a man. She just wants a man to be a man. She just wants a mature